The Kings' De'Aaron Fox is becoming that star you just can't take your eyes off of. Derrick Rose is traded back to the New York Knicks. And will Larry Nance's injury prevent him from being dealt before the deadline? When's the trade deadline? What day is it? Oh yeah, I remember. I'm Tass Mellis, and this is what you need to know in the NBA for Monday, February 8th. The Sacramento Kings know what they're doing. And you haven't been able to say that in what? I don't know, a decade plus? But after a slow start to the season, they are showing that they can play with the best teams in the NBA. They've won 4 in a row, 7 of 8. They are at 12-11. They beat the Clippers in LA on Sunday because of their star power. Yes, the Kings have star power. We've been talking a lot about Tyrese Haliburton dropping to them in the 12th spot of the draft this season. Potential Rookie of the Year, deserves all that talk. He's a Swiss Army knife. He's fun to watch in the fourth quarter. Just watch him on defense. He's ready to pounce. He's ready to do anything on offense. But this team goes because of De'Aaron Fox. Year number 4 for De'Aaron Fox. He is becoming that star people expected him to become. And he gave it to Kawhi Leonard in this fourth quarter of this Clippers game. Went down to the wire. Kawhi Leonard was put on De'Aaron Fox because he was having himself a night. But he continued with Kawhi Leonard on him, one of the best defensive players in the league. He was getting separation on Kawhi. He's got a mean step-back jumper. You got to respect his speed, but now he's controlling those feet. So when he gets into that move and he creates that space there to get that step back, Kawhi's got to respect it. But then De'Aaron Fox even went by him one time after getting that separation. He did a little whoop-de-whoop and got him on a rope there and went right by him. He had 12 points in the quarter, giving it to Kawhi. The three-point shot is coming along. He's becoming a decent three-point shooter. There's respectable numbers out there, and he hit a deep one late in this game for 36 points overall, 15 of 25 shooting. He deserves to be in the All-Star game. It's going to be hard to get in there as a Western Conference guard. But the closing lineup is very solid of him and Tyrese Haliburton in the backcourt with Buddy Hield alongside them, Harrison Barnes, the vet, on the wings, and then Richaun Holmes as their rim runner to create a little bit of a threat at the rim, plus some rim protection at the other end. They're hard to beat. The Sacramento Kings, they're hard to beat. Glorious game. Although Tyronn Lue said Kawhi Leonard was tired after this game, and it showed. Everything was short for Kawhi Leonard in this one, so definitely a bit of an excuse there. Also an excuse, Paul George, not in this one. Second straight game he's missed. Second straight loss for the Los Angeles Clippers. So, yes, not fully healthy. Who cares? Let's talk about the Sacramento Kings. Again, above 500. Feels good to be positive about the Kings. We've got ourselves a trade. The Pistons have traded guard Derrick Rose to the New York Knicks for Dennis Smith Jr. and a second-round pick. Usually I'm a positive Pete with trades. I can find the bright side for at least one of the teams, but in this deal, I'm not excited for either squad. The Knicks are definitely a better team than they were yesterday in acquiring Derrick Rose, but as a fan, I wanted to see him on a championship team and to be a key cog as a part of a championship team. He's only 32. He could go somewhere in a few years and be on a championship roster, but he's playing well right now. I'm not sure how many more very good years we have of Derrick Rose left. I'd like to see him be a sixth man, a seventh man off the bench for a championship type team. Not like Joakim Noah tried to do last year as sort of an end of the bench guy, although I was cheering for Joakim Noah as well. It'd be nice to see Derrick Rose as a key cog, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. Also, for the New York Knicks, just on the floor, yeah, he might win them a couple more games this season. But does this take away minutes from their backup guard, Emmanuel Quickley out of Kentucky? Their rookie has been playing really, really well. Or is Derrick Rose inserted to the starting lineup in place of Alfred Payton? Sure, that's possible. And you could see why Tom Thibodeau, his old coach from the Chicago Bulls, would be playing him a ton of minutes. Could see that scenario happening. Overplaying him, in fact. He has found a perfect role these last couple of years after what happened to him early in his career, the injuries. It took him a while, but he became a sixth man for the Timberwolves and then for the Pistons. It was a near sixth man of the year award winner last year. He was very solid. But what happens in New York? I just don't like the idea of him taking minutes away from some of their guards. And yeah, you can see why they would do it. They need scoring. He's a scoring guard. But unless this move attracts free agents, unless this move shows free agents out there, hey, we're a professional organization, we're trying to win every night, which they have done this year, and things are going well for the New York Knicks. Unless something happens there, I'm not excited about this move. I would rather see some struggle there offensively, and I'd rather see them be bad, in fact, to get another draft pick to move in the right direction with young guys rather than oldies and Derrick Rose. Now, from the other side, the Pistons are taking a chance on Dennis Smith Jr., the number 9 pick, 2017 draft, and the Pistons also got a second-round pick in this deal. But I thought they should be able to get a first-rounder. Every decent player in the NBA has been able to garner a first-round pick in trades the last couple of years. Now, if Dennis Smith Jr. develops into what Derrick Rose was the last couple of years, a six-man of the year candidate, because he can score, he can put the ball in the hole, then they win this trade in a landslide. But his first year was his best year with the Dallas Mavericks. And since then, it's fallen off pretty bad for Dennis Smith Jr. In fact, he was banished from the rotation with the New York Knicks this year. He was trying to play in the G League just to get reps. So kudos to him for trying to go down there and try and get things right. It's only year 4 for him. He's going to get a chance with the Detroit Pistons. Detroit seemingly likes these reclamation projects. They're trying it with Josh Jackson right now, another high draft pick that hasn't worked out. So if he does, Detroit wins it. But in terms of the day after the draft and analyzing it, you'd expect Detroit to try and get a little bit more than Dennis Smith Jr. and what would amount to right now the 40th pick in the draft as a second rounder. And you could see why the Knicks would make this move. On Sunday against the Miami Heat, it's the type of game that they just needed a guard to score. Elfrid Payton only had 7 points as their starting point guard in a 6-point loss to Miami. The Heat used their 16th starting lineup in 23 games this season. They're trying to get it right in Miami. It was their second straight win. They're now at 9-14, but they got to get those wins now. They've got a 7-game road trip coming up after another game with the Knicks. Julius Randle had 26 points in the loss. The Cavs, Larry Nance is out 6 weeks with a broken finger. Now, 6 weeks is about the same amount of time that we have until the NBA trade deadline. So, will a broken finger prevent teams from acquiring Larry Nance? I don't think so. So what was with that headline off the top asking, will teams not want to trade for a guy with a broken finger? Well, that was just to suck you in a little bit. Let's talk trades. Let's talk transactions. Because I think Larry Nance should be a target for playoff teams that need a backup big. He's undersized, but I think he'd be perfect at the 5 in a backup role. He's playing really well, and it seemed like before the season that he was a surefire trade target, but then the Cavs started playing well, and they said, well, he's 28. Yeah, he doesn't really line up all that well with Darius Garland and Colin Sexton's age, but who cares? We're good. Now they're at 10-14, dropping to where expectations were for them before the season, even playing a little bit better than expectations. But maybe Nance can be moved now, although they probably have guys they want to move first, like Andre Drummond. Yeah, that's how many friggin' bigs they have. They have a ton. Hopefully Larry Nance gets healthy soon and can get back to playing good basketball that he's been playing this season. 3 other games that weren't the Super Bowl happened on Sunday. Celtics Suns. Celtics, no Jaylen Brown. They needed him. It's the 5th game for the C's that they scored under 100 points this season, 35% from the floor. A little bit worrisome when that offense goes south, but they got an excuse with no Jaylen Brown. The Suns got contributions from everybody. They've won 5 of 6. They're trying to solidify themselves in the playoff picture. They're 13-9 overall. Jazz Pacers. Jazz, 4th straight win. They've won 15 of their last 16 games. They outworked the Pacers on the glass. 17 offensive rebounds, 24 second chance points. Donovan Mitchell, 27 points in this one, career tying 11 assists to go with his 27 points. The Pacers have lost 5 of 6. They've dropped back to 12-12. Wizards and the Hornets, I can't believe how bad the Wizards are. Back-to-back losses by 20-plus points for the Wizards. That's surprising. that they've only lost 4 times by 20 plus points this season. They basically lost by like 18 or 19 points every single time. No joke. So they've avoided the 20-point mark. They're sitting at 5-15, and now their offense going south. Scored below 100 points in consecutive games. The Hornets killed them on the glass. Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward had good games, and so did LaMelo Ball in his 4th game as a starter. I'll talk a little bit more about him on the full No Dunks episode today on Monday. Make sure you check that out. I'll be back tomorrow to give you the news as fast as I possibly can here on what you need to know. I'll see you then.